I'm very confused. So yeah, but I don't know. See, the whole VidCon thing is fucking annoying me. Now it's like pissing me off. How expensive that shit is. So yeah, but yeah, if you guys live in like or get to a bigger city such as LA, Chicago, Florida, like Orlando, New York, Manhattan, Boston, fucking Houston, Toronto, I will hopefully be I hopefully will be visiting you this year for some stage stuff. Now, for some of the stage stuff, I know maybe 2 people are watching that were at the original stage show. Maybe 1, 2, 3. Oh, you're from all over Port Jeff and Miller Place. Hell yeah, bro. Port Jeff. I guess out of the 3 out of Port Jeff Miller Place, surely. Yeah, I guess you guys win. Well, good for you guys. Yeah, I will be doing some stage show. The stage show stuff as of now, without any modifications, which some will be, would be prank calls on stage. Some, not all of it. I mean, it'll be about a 2.5 hour show. Prank calls on stage. There'll be, I'm not sure what the time frames of each are. It's probably just going to be figured out as it gets closer to the first show date. It'll be some prank calls on stage, then some like stand-up story time type of shit that I usually do on here. Yeah, so then comedy music. There has been an obnoxious amount of music that has like poofed into fucking thin air recently, so I just need to start getting to recording a few songs. There are a few people that I've not reached out to, but just started talking to, like, hey, doing some comedy stuff, just working on some shit. Not necessarily to have people work on them with me, just to like kind of hear what their thoughts were about song concepts and whatever. Because I enjoy doing stuff like Snuggle Buddies, Glitter Sex, Rock My Baby, all that stuff. You know, making the music and the recording process stuff is fun. But you're at the original stage show, Tara? Sorry, and I'm not following you. My apologies. I'm following you now. So agree, disagree, said Shirley, sorry to hear that. William Floyd High School, all over the news. William Floyd High School, all day, every day. I usually get that reaction when I say that. I'll get back to the comedy music, then I'll get back to my original point. So comedy music stuff. So there are a lot of fucking music that's just sitting here. Could play some stuff for you. I'm not going to play, like, I don't know, let's see. Just some of the things I'm working on, you guys will hear. Some of the stuff is obnoxious as fuck. So, but this one I'm working on, I'm just going to play a little bit of it. So this is probably the first song you're going to hear from 2014 that I'm working on. It's very... Imagine Glitter Sex, but more obnoxious. It's not a love song by any means, but just imagine the tone of Glitter Sex and just how like fucking out there it is. So here's the beat to it that I'm working on. So that's all you guys are getting. That's all you guys are getting. So that's some of the stuff I'm working on. It's very obnoxious. It's probably that beat is literally the most obnoxious fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life. James Wood said, ever consider doing a paid live stream of the stage shows? Well, James Wood, here's the deal. I have thought about it, but here's the deal about the stage shows. At least the first stage show, I had a lot of help had a lot of friends, a lot of family that were like helping pull stuff together. And now that I know like how much work it's going to take to do a stage show, it's good, but I don't know too many people in every place that I go to that I would trust somebody with the live stream. And then like, I don't know, if I do it, James, and I want to do it, if I do it, it's probably going to be towards the end of the run of the shows, just because it's just too much for me to worry about. But if you are at the stage shows, and even if you're not at the stage shows, they will all be recorded, and you could view them at a later time if you go to the shows. So yeah, it's kind of, yeah. So where'd you get the badass intro that plays every week? I made it years and years and years and years and years and years ago. Maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And I actually have a few other ones that I was thinking to replace that one with, but everybody likes it so much. So, yeah. Oh, everybody's like freaking the hell out about the disconnected pranks. There will be some soon. I promise. They may, because, yeah, there will be some. It's the whole hidden camera stuff has been very hard to figure out. I met you at the Smith Haven Mall one time. Were you the guy who ran into me in the Apple store? Were you with you're with your friend, and then yeah, was that you? If it wasn't, you could tell me, but pretty sure, because I've been to Long Island maybe 3 or 4 times in the last 5 years, so I haven't met too many people randomly besides I don't even know where the fuck we did the random meetup. But I don't even know where that was. But yeah. What do you use to make the beats? It's a mixture of... For drums, I used to use this really old Windows program called... What the fuck was it called? It was Beat something. No, I'm not helping it. By this company Acoustica. Let me see. What the fuck? Oh, Beatcraft. There we go. If you have Windows and you can't really afford Pro Tools, or if it's too crazy to use, this company Acoustica, Acoustica.com, they make some really simple, awesome production stuff. They have Beatcraft, which you could use to make drum beats, and then they have Mixcraft, which is a mixing type of program. And that's what I used for years when I was on Windows, and that's how I started getting into some of the music production stuff. I made, I think, the first 2 theme songs on Windows, and then with the Mac, I used Logic Pro X, which is fun. No, that wasn't you, bro? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. Then if you were at the spontaneous meetup, then yeah. And if you weren't at either, then I don't know. Then maybe that wasn't me that you met. But I see, I don't know, we have one. That's weird. Interesting. You have a MIDI keyboard controller. Yeah, those work. Those are good. I have one. I don't know where the hell mine is. I have no idea. Yeah. When is the 7-year show? As of now, it is February 14th, Valentine's Day. I was going to say it's not the 14th, but that was in June. Sorry, I'm always in the wrong month. Yeah, Valentine's Day. That's when it's supposed to be. It may be pushed off to the 21st, but I don't see why it would. So as of now, the 7-year show is on Valentine's Day, which is pretty badass. Pretty badass. Yeah. So, oh, Jordan. Yeah, whatever. Let me see something. Fucking Twitter's being stupid. Oh no, not Hulu. It's gonna crash my computer. So he said, you seriously need to watch your language. Why, Ethan Edwards? Once never mind. It's gonna be very sarcastic, but I decided not to. Why did I say, well, Jordan, I said your name because my freaking tweets were delayed. So, like, yeah. I said, yeah, it was misunderstanding on my part. Would you allow a guest over Skype? No, it was kind of a new rule of mine with Studio 3. Once that came about, my rule was oh my god, it's a baby. What the fuck was I saying? I don't even know what the fuck I totally 100% just lost my train of thought. Jesus. Because of a fucking baby. I feel like I was talking about something important. I have no clue. Somebody wants to remind me. Please let me know. What was I talking? Jeez, that's so bad. That's so bad. I have no idea what the hell I was talking about. It's literally going to bug the crap out of me now. Ethan Edwards says you really need to bring your show to Chicago. Ethan, I'm in Chicago like every other month. No bullshit. So yes, when I do stage shows, live shows, all that stuff, I plan on Chicago's like priority. If you can hear that kid screaming, you'll know why I lost my train of thought. Holy crap. Oh, Skype rule. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Tim, for listening. When the premiere... Geez, I wouldn't have even remembered. With the premiere of Studio 3, my rule was no people calling in through Skype for a few reasons. One, because I don't use Skype anymore. I use the Studio 3 app that Mike made. And two, it just was so... It was just like just asking for like more technical problems. And with everything with Studio 3 and just the complexity of it, I don't think you guys can understand how much shit can go wrong during a Friday show as usual. Yeah, it was not gonna fly with adding like a whole nother layer of, yeah. So cool thing about being out here, I mean, there were more guests so far on the show than like there ever have been in a long ass time. And we had Stu and Eric, which was awesome, and then Adam Pierce. Then next week we have DJ Senate, and then from Public Pranks, and then there are some other people too that have been talking to me. Oh, and I guess Olivia counts as a guest, even though she didn't really do a prank. She was still technically a guest. Do I keep kids in the house? It sounds like I do. There's a window right here, but you... I'm sorry, but I don't... What? Never mind. Yeah, I don't keep kids here. I wouldn't, like, secretly keep kids. James Wood said, when am I going to get Fizz and Sprinkles on the show? I have no idea. No idea. Um, if you kind of look into Fizz and Sprinkles, not look into them, but look at Fizz and Sprinkles and just how it's done and their voices and stuff, it would be pretty crazy to attempt really anything live. But who knows? Crazier things have happened. So maybe we're secretly planning something and not telling you guys, or maybe we're not. Who knows? I don't know. But that's a good suggestion. I'll have to look into it. Jordan Simber again appears back. I really liked him. I really liked him too. I liked how all of his jokes went over most of everybody's heads. That's very hard to do. It's very, very hard to do. I've done it before. I've made jokes that go over people's heads, and I thought, wow, maybe it just wasn't funny. But he was saying some off-the-wall shit that 99% of the people watching did not get what he was saying, which was awesome, including the guy on the phone. Am I a Christian? I'm not sure how to answer that exactly. To give a oddly specific answer, no. But if you really give a shit, I was raised Catholic. I go to a Catholic church, but I enjoy the practices and I guess workings of a Christian type of religion better. That sentence made sense. Fat Kid BBC said also they're fucking puppets. Well, yeah, they're puppets. Talking about Fizz and Sprinkles. So, yeah. Somebody was asking where the thing of where Fat Kid BBC came from. That was it was actually in a rap that one of my friends did from high school. The song that he made was a comedy song, and that's what confused me because he raps very well. He's a good rapper, but this song was just so out there and just weird. I've played it maybe once or twice before the show, but probably won't anytime soon. And there was a line in there. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was like how there was something. Oh my god, it was something fucking weird. And he said it kind of like a punchline. Oh, I don't even know what the hell it was. I can't even think of it. I have the song on here. I'm not going to play it. But the way he said it was just so out of context. So that became like kind of an inside joke. Yeah, so it kind of became an inside joke, and then it was said on the show, and then he was watching and then thought it was funny. I wasn't making fun of it, but just the reference. I mean, it was really random. Then he thought it was funny, and then I was like, well, you know how to explain. I'm not making fun of you. He's a cool kid, so I don't care. And then yeah, so then it came. And then it started to become like a joke within like groups of friends and family and stuff where like it was just used like when you were just describing something it was like oh, like a Fat Kid BBC. And then when during the Snuggle Buddies recording, that was just a line I threw in there. Yeah, good shit. FNC Katie says, do you like Skillet? Hell yes, I love Skillet. I've seen them twice in concert, and I've met them twice. And actually had dinner with them. Sounds really awkward, but I did. A few months ago. I think it was like October-ish. Oh god, why is that loud? So yeah, there's gonna be. I need to like pick people out. I obviously want James the Nerd. I want Jordan. James Wood. Zach. Jake Hill. I'm not singling people out. I'm not excluding people, but there's something that I'm planning, and I need like a few people that could help. So So I think those are the only people I'm going to ask as of now. Then they're going to ask people, and those people are going to ask people. So befriend some of those people that I just mentioned. And I'm just thinking in my head now that people are like tweeting and stuff. Do you want to make more drum covers if you have more time? Yes, my drums aren't here, which is sad. I was thinking of maybe even just getting like a little dinky-dink electronic drum set. That way I could keep playing, not necessarily making more covers, but so I could keep playing. So he said, yes, Christians are nice. And don't swear. Please reduce your swear rate. As you know, swearing doesn't always make things funnier. But, Ethan, Christians want everybody to be themselves. So, by reducing my swearing, I would not be myself, and that would be very unchristian. And I guess Alexis too, since you're watching. I need to get like a group. I wish you could do like group DMs. I don't know. What was the best concert I've been to? Jesus, Max, that's a great question. Can name top 5. I can't pick a single. Well, I can't pick a single best concert because I've been to a lot of them, and I've seen amazing lineups of bands that have actually made me not want to see those bands again because they were so good. In no particular order. The best show I saw, well, top 5. First one was Motley Crue at Madison Square Garden in like 2009. So I think that show was The Last Vegas, Theory of a Dead Man, who were fucking terrible. Then Hinder, who was awesome. Then Motley Crue, awesome. I was front row. Crazy stuff. Got into a fight. It was epic. Then number 2, again, these are in no order. These are just top 5. Number 2, A Day to Remember. Saw them about 6-8 months ago. Got to meet them. That was fun too. Then saw Fall Out Boy in Chicago on their like comeback tour, which was phenomenal. Holy crap. Amazing. Then number 4, oh geez, would have to be, it was in one show. It was Atreyu, Bullet for My Valentine, and Avenged Sevenfold when their self-titled album just came out, like a year before the Rev died. Awesome show. Then number 5, oof, jeez. Okay, number 5 would probably be Project Revolution of 2007, where it was My Chemical Romance and Linkin Park, and My Chemical Romance played the Black Parade from start to finish, and it was right as Linkin Park's Minutes to Midnight album was coming out, so they didn't really have much to play from that. So they just played most of the first 2 albums, Hybrid Theory and Meteora. That was a great show. Phenomenal show. And now My Chemical Romance will never be around ever again. But to hear the Black Parade from start to finish was one of the most awesome things I've ever seen in my entire life. So, yeah. Can't even explain that. How did I meet Stu Stone? I first spoke to Stu Stone 7 years ago, 2000. It was a little over 7 years ago. 7 years ago Monday. Spoke to him 7 years ago when he was doing his talk show online, Sunday Night Stu. Then I got inspired to watch Friday Night Cranks. So then every 6 months to a year, I'd check in on a show and be like, hey, I'm starting a show. Hey, we have a podcast on iTunes. And hey, whatever. So then 1 year, I guess he ended up checking a bunch of the videos out. Thought the videos were awesome because they are. Then as the VidCon 2010 happened, the first VidCon, we met up at VidCon, which was weird. And then I came on his show in person, and then we just stayed in touch ever since. He actually wouldn't give me his not that I was asking for it. He wouldn't give me his phone number for the first 6 to 8 months because he was terrified that I was gonna prank him. And he's like, it's not that I don't trust you, I just don't want to get pranked. I'm like, no, we're good. So we just Skyped and video chatted, and then eventually we upgraded to the phone numbers. So he's awesome. I have literally seen him more times this year since I moved out here than I've seen him in my entire life. I saw him when he came on for Friday Night Cranks. I saw him when he came on in LA. Then we hung out after the show in LA. And then I saw him the week or two after that. I think 2 weeks after that. I went out to LA and hung out with him. I was going to go see him last week or 2 weeks ago. There just wasn't enough time, conflicting schedules. Because I go out to LA at least once a week, and even though I'd like to do a bunch of stuff out there, there's just not a lot to do. Like, not a lot of time to do stuff. My friend's mom went to a Green Day concert and said it changed her life. I really want to go see Green Day. Bands that I want to see that I haven't seen would be Green Day, Foo Fighters for sure. Foo Fighters. Yeah. Yeah, just awesome. I want to go see Eminem if he ever tours. Am I planning to have children? Like, as of now, no. I'm not planning. As of right now, and not people, but like family, like they get mad at me. They're like, "Oh, you say you're never having kids," but that's what I'm saying now. Like, I don't want kids, so I'm never having kids right now. Yeah. So if people are like, "Oh, I want to have kids in a year," that means they want to have kids, just not right now. And then a year accidentally turns into like a day. So I'm never having kids. I'm good with kids. I used to babysit. We're not going to get into that at the moment. But I used to babysit way before any actual real job. I used to babysit. And I think hasn't everybody babysat at least once? Or is that just, have I gotten weird? So I used to babysit. Had a lot of fucking weird stories. Not even going to get into that one. Not even going to give you a synopsis, because... Yeah. Do I like Screamo? It depends. To an extent. I like that. If it's just straight up screaming, no. I like bands like Bullet for My Valentine or A Day to Remember, or really like that style of stuff where it's like half and half, but not necessarily like just full on, like, yeah. Why you don't like dubstep? I do like dubstep. I make fun of it, but I don't hate it at all, actually. Yeah, Bikini Top Boner. You should try and do more hangout streams like these. For sure, why not? I want to do stuff like at least once a week, whether it's a hangout stream or like a podcast thing, whatever the fuck you guys want. What jobs have I had? Babysitting. Did that for a long ass time as a kid. Then I worked for a few summers in a row was this company, they're still around, so I'm not going to say it, but it's a computer company out east in Sag Harbor on Long Island that my dad used to work at. He used to be like a manager there, and I worked there for a few summers. Really awesome group of people. Just crazy stuff. They used to actually... A guy there used to take webcams and put them around the office and like stream live on the internet, like, and have microphones and stuff set up. So it was like you were watching a reality show. Like that, the one guy who works there, that's who let me borrow the giant Gumby and that stuffed alien that I had on a few episodes many years ago, Gumby and Gus. Like, a guy just had that in his office, like just had those things. He had a bunch of more crazy shit. So I had that. I worked at a library, the Shirley Library, the Mastic Moriches Shirley Community Library. I worked there for 2 years, close to 3 years. I have gotten into more trouble there than most people ever will. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Jared, how much trouble could you get into at a library? Well, tonight is not story time, but I have many moons of stories. Many moons. just huge fucking problems. Synopsis of one. Synopsis of one. There's a homeless guy that used to come in. He probably still goes in there. We used to call him Patches. Sorry. There was a guy called Patches. He was a homeless guy. And we called him Patches because he had clothes that were like patched together. And he would never tell anybody his real name. He came in one day, Patches. And whenever people would see Patches come in, they wouldn't want to help him because that was what they call a page, which is pretty much a bitch, a librarian's bitch. And these were fat, fucking lazy motherfuckers at the library desk. They probably all still work there, and that's okay. You could actually go in there and say that Jared said you were a fat, lazy motherfucker. But you'll probably get kicked out and you won't get any books. So a library, somebody would go up to a librarian and say, hey, I need help making copies. And a librarian would say, I'm sorry, I'm a fat, lazy piece of shit. Let me go call a page to help you. So my job is to primarily put books away, which once you learn the Dewey Decimal System, holy shit, your life changes. It's an amazing system, the Dewey Decimal System, because books are in order by the decimals, and there's no order to the books. You would think like, hey, they would put them in like some sort of order, maybe alphabetical order, and rearrange them every other week and then just move like one book over. That's like no big deal. It takes 2 seconds. And keep it in alphabetical order. That way you can get all the titles as they happen. No. Dewey Decimal System is they put the books in order however the fucking librarian feels like putting them in. There's no standard to putting these books away. So your book could be in section 5.239, then you go to fucking Borders, where they're organized in a more professional manner. Maybe that's why they're fucking going under. And you'd be like, hey, I'm looking for book 5 point, and they're like, no, fuck you, you're an ass, and we don't know what that means. We don't have the Dewey Decimal System here. So you would get a cart of books, and you'd put the books away, which was easy enough. You put them in the Dewey Decimal order. Then they'd give you a whole section of the library, like a whole 2,000, 3,000 books, and that was your section. Nobody could touch that section unless they were a librarian person, customer, patron thing. And you had to put the books away, and then you had to make sure all of those books were in the Dewey Decimal order, which was fine. And you just had to make sure all the books were in order. But when you were done, and I'm going to get back to Patches in a second, I wanted you guys to hear what my job was, then what Patches made me do. So, yeah. Then after you check the whole section, you wrote down that I checked the section. I did my fucking job. Then they had a fat fucking note before the fat fucking librarian. I apologize. Put those aside. Then they had what was called a page manager or a page manager. I don't know, some bullshit. They're like the mini manager, not our bosses, but like a manager within our little slave group. They would go and check the books to make sure they were in order. So they would do the job you just did, and then if they found a book that was out of order, they pulled the book down and like slide it in. So the books are all lined up, and they pull a book down and slide it down. So then they would write down on a piece of paper you had 10 mistakes, and they'd put it in your mailbox. So you did your job, which took you like fucking 3 hours. Then they'd send somebody in, which would take them maybe an hour and a half because they do this shit for a living. Maybe 2 hours if they're having a bad day. Pulled the books down. Then the next day you came in, which would probably be a day and a half, 2 days later, maybe 3, you'd go in your mailbox and your section would have 10 mistakes. So before you started your new section, you would go and fix those mistakes. And then you wrote, I fixed them. Then if they were still out of order, they would pull the books and put them in a cart. And then the third time, like a fucking week later, you have to go and put the books back. So you would do a job, somebody would check it, instead of fixing it and making it right, they would pull the books down, then you go fix it. If for some reason you just totally fucked up, or, like many of times, somebody comes in when you leave and looks at a book and puts it back, obviously, because you're in a fucking library, that's what they do. So the book would be out of order. They would check again, take the books away, so now those books are gone, nobody can find them, and then you have to put them away. So essentially you're doing the same job 3 times for no fucking reason. Just because, I guess, you can't play with your dick in a library. So, can't quote me on that. But I guess that's why they did that. So, that was my job. Oh, and then you weren't allowed to talk. So they hired all these teenagers, awesome group of people for the most part, except 2 dickheads. We weren't allowed to talk, so we had a headset. And each time the librarians didn't want to do something because they were fat or lazy or stupid or just dumb, which I guess goes with being stupid, they would say page to the front desk, and you'd like take turns between the group of teenagers who hated everybody. You'd be like, okay, my turn, you get the next one. Go up and you'd say, hey, what's up? You had to say something like page reporting or some shit, but I just said hi, because that's how you greet people. And then they would tell you what to do, like, oh, so-and-so needs help making copies. Well, if so-and-so needs help making copies, then maybe they shouldn't be using a fucking copy machine where you put the piece of paper in and hit copy. Now, there were some people that wanted, like, a double-sided fucking booklet to come out, half the page color, the other side black and white. They wanted some crazy shit, some people, so that I could understand. But you're a librarian. This is your job. You don't do anything. It's not a real job. It's like the people who are supposed to clean the ovens at McDonald's, like the stovetops. It's not a real fucking job. Like, it matters if it's clean or not. Like, if somebody orders a Big Mac that has been shipped in, it doesn't fucking matter if it's being cooked on the ground or on a fucking clean stovetop. I'd actually prefer it being cooked on the ground at this point. So, Patches comes in, and we all saw Patches, so we were all, like, shoddy nodding Patches, like usually when you see a person or member of the opposite sex, girls or guys more than girls, go like shoddy, or if it's like a weird girl, you're like shoddy not. Or like if you want to clean the dishes, or if you don't want to clean the dishes and cleaning them after dinner, and they're like, oh, or who wants to be it for tag? Shoddy not. It's the opposite of shotgun, I guess. So everybody was shoddy nodding, working with Patches. And I didn't know why. I was relatively new, and I found out why. Go over to Patches, and he's very smelly and patchy. And I said hello. I didn't really ask what his name was, but I assumed his name was Patches, but maybe he has a real name. He was like, I need help making copies of the Bible. I'm like, fuck yeah, homeless guy. I could help you. Because it doesn't like everybody's quoting me. Just because I guess you can't play with your dick in a library. It's true. That needs to be a title of my memoir. You can't play with your dick in a library. The story of when I worked at the library. Okay. So Patches needed help making copies. And if you've heard the library story, you're going to know where this is going. But a lot of you haven't, so I'm going to continue. It was the Bible. So he goes, I just don't want you to judge me. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, you're homeless. You're making copies of the Bible. That's awesome. You're on the right track. Fucking let's forgive you. I'm not a priest, but if I was, I would forgive you and find you a house. I don't think that's the job of a priest, but I'm not here to debate that. So, I started making copies for Patches, and he was very, very protective of his book. And I noticed people in the library and the librarians and the fucking teenagers that I work with are all like staring and laughing. And I'm like, well, that's kind of mean. They're making fun of a homeless guy, whatever. Fuck those people. Again, I was new. I didn't really know what the hell was going on. So, the pictures start coming out, and he's like pulling them away, and he's like guarding them. I'm like, whatever. So one of them falls, and me, not realizing, me being a young, naive son of a bitch, pick up the piece of paper, and I look. Mr. Patches had pictures of children doing stuff that he cut out, I guess, not out of a newspaper, because I don't know of a newspaper that does that, and if there is, then I don't really give a shit. But I guess he printed them off online or something, cut them out, and he was putting them on the Bible pages and making copies. So me, now I'm in like 7 different moral situations. I don't know what to do. So I call a librarian over. They're too fat and fucking lazy. And again, the librarians were maybe not even 100 feet away, so they saw everything, and they're like laughing. And he's like, I don't want you to judge me, man. I do this all the time. I'm like, I'm not going to start to yell at you or pick a fight because you're homeless, apparently. And who knows what the hell you're going to do to me if you think that I'm about to blab on you. So call a librarian over. She comes over. She's like, what's the problem? And he says to her, I printed out pictures of little girls and I'm putting them on the Bible. And she goes, well, you can't do that, sir. You're going to have to leave. And I'm like, okay. And Patches leaves, but Patches comes back a few days later. So fucking Patches has now today he has a camera. Really wasn't, I guess it was crappy for the time, but one of the first point and shoot cameras he had. He had a point and shoot camera, and so Patches is back. Patches doesn't need any help, which is good. But I see him taking pictures of just taking pictures, and I'm thinking, oh, Patches got a camera. He might think it's a time traveling device. He might think it's a fucking spaceship. He might think you plug it into something like Invader Zim and a house appears out of nowhere. So then I notice he has the SD card that he puts in the computer. He has a flash drive. So Patches is getting very high tech out of nowhere. He goes from naked children, printing them off in public on a Bible, to a digital camera with a USB drive. It's getting very high tech, which makes me, not that he should have been doing it, but what the fuck was he doing? He could have, never mind, 10 seconds in Microsoft Paint, Photoshop, he could have did that at home. So, maybe he doesn't have a computer, which is why he did what he's about to do now. So then I noticed he's looking at all the pictures on the camera and putting them on the USB drive. He has thousands of pictures of people's feet. And I know this is a real thing. I know people have foot fetishes, and, it's their thing. I don't judge people, except if you're, licking my foot, then fuck you, get away from me. But he has thousands of pictures of feet. And I guess he was walking around the library taking pictures of feet. And he's sitting there rubbing himself. Nothing's out. But he's just rubbing himself, getting off to pictures of people's feet. So, David's asking why, just because I feel this explains so much about my life. And you guys need to hear it. You guys need to hear about Patches. Somebody said I do not like Patches. If Edward, or whatever your name was, thought me cursing was bad, you should fucking say a prayer for Patches. Because he's more fucked up than I am. So, one of my friends, Patrick, he goes over, he sits next to Patches, he takes his shoe off. Patrick takes his own shoe off, he doesn't take Patches' shoe off. Patches even had shoes. Again, he's a very sophisticated homeless man living in the Shirley area. Very sophisticated for what he had and didn't have. So, my friend Pat takes his shoe off. And this is while I'm still trying to figure out what to do in this situation. Patches looks over and he's looking at him. Patrick takes his sock off. And Patrick starts rubbing his feet. And he's moaning, Patrick. And Patches starts rubbing himself. And I'm just watching. And I don't know what's more fucked up. The fucked up that this guy is publicly taking pictures of people's feet. Putting them on the computer and rubbing himself. That's weird. Or that my friend Patrick took off his shoe and his foot, his sock, knowing this, and is now rubbing his own foot, which is arousing Patches. Or the fact that I'm watching this happen. I don't know what's more fucked up. I don't know what to do. So I just keep watching. And then eventually a librarian comes over and yells at me for watching. But I guess they didn't realize that this was their worker that was screwing with the guy. So Patches leaves. That was the last encounter I've had with Patches. Ever in my life, thank God. So I'm hoping he's changed his ways. I'm hoping if he hasn't changed his ways, he maybe got a laptop and goes into a Starbucks or something. Or, I don't know, he stole somebody's iPhone and he uses that now. I hope Patches is well, and I hope he gets some fucking help. That is just some of the library stories that I have. I have many more. Some involve me kidnapping penguins. Some also involve me getting into verbal altercations and physical altercations. One involves a cookie, a man's genitals, and another man's mouth. I didn't do any of that. Another one involves Oh god. One involves a shredder. Another one involves a giant poster printing machine. And probably one of the most epic quitting stories you will ever hear. But that is for another day. Those are for another day. Another day, another time. So, yeah. So many more. Jordan said Patches is my grandpa. Well, dude, tell your grandpa to get your his shit together. Not your shit, but yeah. You'll have the. Oh yeah, and that also there one involves there are two that involve the projector. One involves alleged pole vaulting. Another one involves there's some weird fucking stories. So much weird shit. I really wish it wouldn't have worked, obviously, but in the time I really wish I had a reality crew following this library around, and then I think I need to develop a not a mock, I guess a mock reality show type of sitcom based off of me working in a library. There was some of the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life there. Like, just, oh god. And I would love to sit with the people I actually worked with and go over stories. Yeah. Such weird shit. So many weird. Oh, also that story, once I tell the story in full, that involves, story involves me getting fired 3 times and still keeping my job. Which is, it's all true. The library needs a TV show. Not necessarily the library. I don't think the library is still like that, and if it is, it's definitely not as bad, because I've had friends that worked at the library since I left. And literally, one of my friends' interview questions was, do you know Jared? Like, they wanted to know if anybody knew who I was, because I had one of the most epic... Not because it wasn't a firing story, but they tried to fire me in the most epic way. Props to them. They tried so fucking hard to fire me. They pulled out all of the stops. It was amazing. I applaud their effort. It was amazing. Like, good for them. Couldn't even be mad. But yeah, they tried so hard and just could not fire me. And then, yeah, they actually had to create a job for me that put me away from everybody. They literally put me in a room in, like, the back of the library because they couldn't fire me, but they also didn't want me around everybody because of the trouble I was causing. And I mean, I guess half of it wasn't me causing, and when I say causing trouble, I don't mean, like, going out of my way to start shit, but more like they were fucking with me. So I was, like, fighting back by, like, really, really, really fucking with them. Then they knew it was me but couldn't prove it, so they were trying to do stupid shit to me, like cut my hours. I'm like... Okay, I'll tell you one quick story. It was fucking amazing. It was fucking amazing. Here's what happened. After, I think it was the second time they tried to fire me? Yeah. Second time they tried to fire me. This is just one story of how great teamwork. I've learned a lot of teamwork there. Hold on. Teamwork. Okay. The second time they tried to fire me, it was pretty crazy. So the condition in New York, you can't just fire somebody. You need, like, a reason. You need documentation. You need a bunch of shit. Or you need, like, a really good reason. You can't just, like, say, you know what, we don't like you, you're fired, because then you could sue for, like, wrongful termination and get a shit ton of money and whatever. So they tried that. They were like, oh, you're fired. This is the second time. And I was like, no, I'm not, because you have no proof and blah, blah. So now they were like, okay, well, here's what we're going to have you do. You're going to come in on Saturday when, like, nobody's ever in on Saturday. Or a Sunday, one of those. One of the days where they're very understaffed. And they were going to have me... There was the... a kid section of the library, a teenager section, and the adult section. The adult section had about... Jesus. maybe 15,000 books, roughly. Maybe more than that, 15,000 books. A lot of books. A lot of books. So they said I would come in on Saturday, which was like the next day. The next day or 2 days later, it was whichever one. Then I would have the whole adult section to myself, and I had to make sure all of the books were in Dewey Decimal order, and if one book was out of place, they were going to fire me. So think about that. That's like an impossible situation, guys, because I think I was in. It was definitely Sunday, so it was like 1 to 5. So in 4 hours, rearrange the whole fucking library and make sure it was good. And I knew they were gonna like fuck with it. I knew like they were deliberately gonna like remove sections and like put them somewhere just to fuck with me, because they wanted me gone. So I agreed to it, knowing pretty damn well it was gonna be hard to pull this off. But I want you guys to know, when I accept a challenge, I go above and beyond, and I make sure that I win. So called up my buddy Pat and my other buddy Adam, who are awesome. They came in. Adam worked in the teen section, so he was able to switch with somebody, so he was going to be working. And Pat just came in just because. So what they were able to do was, before I came in, because I guess they came in at like 12, they came in to the library. And somebody said, Tim said, I wonder how much you got paid. Fucking minimum wage. It was like fucking $7 an hour at the time, or whatever the fuck it was. Nothing crazy. It's like $100 every other week. I mean, if you're in high school, it's awesome, but so yeah. So then what they did is they went on the computer and they printed out the Dewey Decimal in the computer system, like how it was supposed to be. It was like fucking 100 pages that they had, like hundreds of pages mapped out of all the order of the books in the computer system. So we sat there and we broke it up into sections, and that was it. So we each got a third of it, and literally I had the sheets of where all the books would be. So I would just go order. If there was a book out of order, we'd pull it and put it on the shelf. I mean, put it on the cart. Like, even, we didn't really even check to see. That was the first hour. We're just going through all the books and pulling books that were out of order. That just made it easier, because you just, like, read the titles out loud and just to make sure they were in order. And if they weren't, you just pull. So then, probably by the time, after an hour and a half or so, we had about 200-300 books pulled, which isn't bad, which is now, I just told you, like, they would give us a section and you had to put books away and whatever. So then we had, like, where the books were supposed to go. So we, instead of doing the Dewey Decimal order, we just said, oh, this Stephen King book goes in between 2 other Stephen King books with, these names and stuff. So it made shit a lot easier, because we knew where they were supposed to be going, as opposed to paying attention to the fucking decimal order. That when you're looking at a bunch of numbers all day, it really starts to screw with you. So we did that, which was awesome. And then I was watching one of the fat fucking librarians, who I don't wish anything bad upon her. She was already fat and lazy and working at a library, so she's suffering enough. So she was actually going through the sections and fucking them up. Not badly, but the thing was, she knew that they were helping and they weren't allowed to, but every time she went to go and catch them for helping, they'd like slip away and she couldn't figure it out. So she would like fuck up books. So then the director of the library, who was a stupid person, comes down with her own little printed sheet of the order of the books. I didn't have mine, because that I guess would be cheating. So I put mine away. She has hers. Literally, we had the same list, and their books are in the same order, because we were fucking doing that. So yeah, that's how I avoided getting fired for the second time. Yeah, and I literally told you like 2 or 3 stories. I have like 50 library stories. Kid you not. One involves me allegedly slapping a girl, which never happened. One involves a 5-hour interrogation, which I was interrogated for hours. Fucking awesome. It's like the shit you see on like an Investigation Discovery, getting interrogated and shit. What else? One involves a Christmas party, a meltdown at a Christmas party, and another one. Jesus, I think that's all. That's off the top of my head all the ones I can think of. Once I think of some other ones, I will write them down because, I mean, I was there for 2 years. 2 years. So yeah. All right. So on that note, guys. Yeah. So with that, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna go. I'm definitely gonna go. What? I'm very confused. All right. So with that, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. I will see you probably on Friday. I'm probably not going to be live from now until Friday. So on Friday, I'll have a little more hair. But I will be joined by Public Prank. So that's awesome. Go follow them if you haven't already. I just retweeted a tweet from them, so go retweet that. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be crazy. Working on some prank ideas for that. So, see you next week. Got a little surprise for you coming this weekend. It's nothing crazy. I mean, it is crazy, but it's nothing like... when I say I have surprises, people start guessing things that are not even close to... Yeah, so you're probably disappointed. So, something cool. Something cool. It's another collaboration. So, that's all I'm saying. It's another collaboration. So, be doing collaboration with Public Pranks on Friday and then some other stuff. So, with that, guys, I'm gonna go. No music. I'm just gonna sign out. Thank you guys for joining. This was a lot of fun. I want to do these at least once a week, whether it be audio, video, or whatever. You guys, let me know. Let me know like what you'd like to see every week. If it's you'd rather do a live stream hangout thing, if you want like a fucking talks about specific subjects, like each week it changes, or I don't know what the fuck you want. You tell me, and I'll do it, or at least think about it. So. I'll see you guys on Friday. Thank you guys for joining. This was a lot of fun. How many of you motherfuckers were watching? 122 of you? Cool. Cool shit. So thank you all for joining. This was a lot of fun. Oh, shit. Yeah. That's a lot of people. This last hour and a half was pretty awesome. So, yeah. I'll see you guys on Friday. Thank you guys, and bye.